Section 1. The Silent Thief of Breath. A global view. There is a map of our world. It does not show countries or borders in the way we usually see them. Instead, it glows with colors that tell a story about breath. Some areas are cool and calm, while others burn with a bright intensity. This map shows us where a disease called COPD is most common. Every point of light represents millions of people struggling to simply breathe. This is a story about the air we share, and the lungs that sustain us, a challenge we all face, and the hope we can build together. What is this condition that casts such a long shadow? COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a slow, persistent narrowing of the airways, chronic bronchitis, a long-term cough with mucus, emphysema, damage to the tiny air sacs. Over time, airflow becomes restricted. A simple walk can feel like climbing a mountain. A morning cough can become a constant companion. A silent thief stealing breath and energy, often so gradually people do not notice. Section 2. Mapping the divide. Cityscapes and countryside. Let us zoom in on this global map. The bustling city, the quiet countryside. Both have their own unique stories of COPD. In our urban centers, the air is often thick with exhaust. Cars, buses, trucks. Factories on the outskirts release plumes of smoke. Smoke drifts over neighborhoods where families live, work, and play. A map of a large city might show clusters of high COPD rates right alongside major highways or industrial zones. The air people breathe on their way to school or work can be a source of harm, slowly damaging their lungs day after day. Now, let us travel away from the city lights into rural heartlands. The air seems clean and fresh, but the map shows COPD is also serious here, for a different reason. The danger is inside the home. Families depend on wood, animal dung, or coal. They burn these in simple open stoves, filling homes with thick toxic smoke. A woman who has spent her life cooking over such a fire may have inhaled as much harmful particulate matter as a heavy smoker. The contrast is stark, but the outcome is the same: damaged lungs and a struggle for breath. City threats demand policy, cleaner technologies, and urban planning. Rural threats call for clean cook stoves, safer fuels, and community education. By mapping these risks, health organizations tailor strategies. Mobile lung testing in dense neighborhoods and cook stove workshops in remote villages. Section 3. The haze we create. Smoking and pollution. There is a powerful and undeniable link that we must confront. If you were to lay a map of global smoking rates directly over our map of COPD, the two would align almost perfectly. This is no coincidence. Smoking tobacco is the single greatest cause of this disease. The chemicals in cigarette smoke directly attack the lungs, causing inflammation, narrowing the airways, destroying the delicate air sacs. To stop COPD, we must first address smoking. The decision to smoke is often complex, tied to social norms, tied to stress, tied to addiction. But the physical result is brutally simple. Every cigarette shortens the breath and brings the body closer to disease. Maps showing smoking hotspots guide anti-smoking campaigns where they are needed most. They show where to focus counseling, nicotine replacement therapies, and protections for non-smokers, especially children. Beyond the smoke we choose to inhale, there is the haze we are forced to breathe. Air pollution is the other major driver of COPD. This pollution comes from many sources: fine dust from construction sites, sulfur dioxide from power plants, nitrogen oxides from vehicle exhaust. Tiny particles penetrate deep into the lungs, trigger inflammation, cause oxidative stress, and wear down the lungs' defenses, leading to irreversible damage. Maps that pinpoint pollution sources are risk maps. Smoking and pollution often work together, creating a far worse situation than either alone. Our approach must be two-pronged: empower people to quit smoking, and demand leaders and industries safeguard the air we all share. One effort cannot succeed without the other. We must clear the air, both in our hands and in our skies. Now, let us add another layer to our map. On top of the areas showing high rates of COPD, let us place a marker for every clinic, hospital, health center. In many places, a troubling picture emerges. The regions burning brightest with COPD are often the very same regions with the fewest markers for care. This is the care gap. It is the distance between a person struggling for breath and the simple test that could diagnose their condition. It is the miles between a family and the doctor who could provide medicine and guidance. This gap can turn a manageable condition into a debilitating one. A clinic is more than a building. It is a sanctuary of care and a source of knowledge. For someone with COPD, a local clinic can be a lifeline. A simple breathing test called spirometry can end years of uncertainty. Doctors and nurses can prescribe inhalers that open the airways, teach breathing exercises and energy-saving techniques, and offer pulmonary rehabilitation programs, structured exercise and education proven to improve quality of life. Without access to these services, people face the disease alone, often seeking help only in crisis. Late care leads to poorer outcomes and strains the entire health system. Mapping clinics is an act of strategy and of justice. It shows governments and health organizations exactly where to invest. It guides new facilities to the communities that need them most and highlights the need for mobile units that bring spirometry and expert advice to remote areas. Closing the care gap is one of the most powerful ways we can fight COPD. It is about ensuring that no matter where a person lives, a helping hand and a path to easier breathing are always within reach. Maps and numbers tell us the what and the where, but they cannot tell us the who. To truly understand the impact of COPD, we must look past the data points and see the human faces they represent. Imagine a man named David, a 65-year-old bus driver in a sprawling metropolis. For years, he navigated congested streets, breathing exhaust 8 hours a day. He started with a small cough, which he dismissed as a smoker's cough, even after he quit a decade ago. Now, he is breathless after one flight of stairs. The city he served has, in a way, taken his breath away. Hundreds of miles away, we meet Ananya, a 70-year-old grandmother. She has cooked for decades over an open fire in a poorly ventilated kitchen. She has never smoked a cigarette in her life, yet her lungs bear the scars of decades of smoke. She coughs frequently and can no longer walk to the village well without resting. These stories, and millions like them, give the map its meaning. They transform statistics into real-life struggles. COPD is not a disease of one type of person. It affects the city taxi driver, the rural farmer, the factory worker, the stay-at-home mother, crossing geography, gender, and occupation. Showing diverse experiences builds empathy and dismantles stereotypes. We also see the power of intervention. David joins pulmonary rehab and learns breathing exercises. Ananya receives a clean cook stove, her kitchen now free of smoke. Stories of struggle become stories of resilience and hope. The knowledge we have gained from these maps is not meant to inspire fear, but to empower action. There is a clear path forward. Stop smoking. Clean the air. Deploy clean cook stoves. Strengthen clinics and rehab. The single most powerful action is to stop smoking. For those who smoke, quitting prevents COPD or slows its progression. We must build systems that offer counseling, medication, and encouragement. Clean the air we all breathe, invest in cleaner transport, set stricter emission standards, and create more green spaces. In rural areas, promote clean cooking, stoves using electricity, gas, or clean-burning biofuels. Every policy that reduces air pollution protects our lungs. Strengthen health systems, raise awareness, teach the public and clinicians to recognize early signs, persistent cough, increased mucus, shortness of breath, and make spirometry routine in primary care. Ensure access to affordable medications, pulmonary rehabilitation that blends exercise, education, and support, and teach self-management techniques. We have journeyed across the globe, guided by a map of breath. We have seen the hotspots, the causes, and the faces. We are left with a choice: be overwhelmed, or answer a call to action with compassion and ingenuity. Change begins with each of us. If you smoke, seek help to quit. Advocate for clean air. Raise your voice for clean cook stoves. Encourage early checkups. Leaders must invest in cessation, enforce clean air, equip clinics, and make rehab standard. The return is measured in lives restored. Before we wrap up, please like, share, and subscribe for more helpful stories. Your support helps us reach more people.